Okay, so why should you learn ethical hacking as a targeted individual? Well, first of all, let's make some sense out of this, right? Because hacking obviously isn't what most people think it is, and most targeted individuals. Because, first of all, if you look me up, okay, you'll see videos of me documenting my experience going through being targeted as going through gang stalking, many levels and variations of gang stalking. This video isn't about all those levels and different aspects of gang stalking and targeting and government surveillance, stuff like that. I would suggest that you go and watch my videos and what I've already been through and how far in this journey that I've actually come and overcame this program that almost killed me, ruined my life in many different ways. So I had a choice. I was either going to be completely destroyed by this attack against me, or I was going to completely level up in every possible way that a human being could possibly level up. And that's what I did. So if you go on YouTube and you type in Corey Resilient gang stalking, you'll see all my videos. I have a gang stalking video that I made that has over 64,000 views. Okay. The reason why I'm telling you that is because that's how much I've been through when it comes to gang stalking and how much I relate to the gang stalking community that I literally got over 64,000 views on one of my gang stalking videos. I have other gang stalking videos that have 32,000, 40,000, 20,000. Like, I was really going through it and I really did a good job at documenting it. But other than that, what I'm going to be teaching here is security penetration testing, other known as ethical hacking. Ethical hacking, okay, is an actual career path. It's a real thing, okay? And I'm going to teach the TI community. For the last 7 years, I've been laying low behind the scenes, educating myself on cybersecurity, security penetration testing, aka ethical hacking. It is a real thing. It's a profession. It's a field. Um, Hacking obviously is illegal if you were to use it uh, without having permission against an individual or an organization. Um, but hacking is legal, and you can perform these forensics on your own devices, on your own networks, and also isolated networks that are specifically made to test your penetration testing skills. So even this is a book that I'm reading, and it's probably backwards, but it says the pen tester's blueprint, starting a career as an ethical hacker. I'm also going to be going to college for an 8-month course on cybersecurity pretty soon. So I'm going to explain something to you guys, okay? You need to learn this, okay? This is going to be the determining factor if you're going to overcome or not, okay? Um, Here's the thing. You can either be a victim or you can be a conqueror. You know what I'm saying? You can level up. This is some level up shit, okay? I would have never thought that I would even go down this route. So what I'm gonna be teaching you guys, first of all, let me give a little disclaimer. These videos in this channel and everything that I'm gonna be teaching is for educational purposes only. Okay. Um, this is to learn how attackers and hackers target people and how people get hacked, the actual how it really happens. And it's very technical. It's not easy. It took me 7 years to get to this point. You have to learn a completely new language, and that language is Linux. And if you don't know Linux, if you haven't learned the Linux fundamentals and basics, you will not be able to use the operating system that is used by law enforcement, by CIA, by FBI, by security professionals to penetrate into devices, networks, and applications, aka hacking. You will not be able to do this without learning a new language, which is Linux, because Kali Linux is the operating system, okay, that is used for security professionals, for penetration testers, for hackers, okay, white hat, ethical hackers, okay. Now, what you do with this information, I will not be held liable or responsible for it, okay. This, again, disclaimer, is for educational purposes only. This is a lot of responsibility to be learning something like this. These things that I'm going to teach you, if you were to use them outside of your own network or on somebody else without their permission, and let's say somehow you got caught, um, you could be charged. Well, you will be charged. It's against the law, and the minimum amount of jail time that you can get potentially for trying to hack somebody without their permission is about 10 years. So it's pretty serious. Okay, it is a real thing. It's a real profession. I'm going to show you now. Now that I got that out of the way, the things that I'm going to be teaching on this channel for specifically the targeted individual community is Android hacking, Mac OS hacking, Windows hacking, Wi-Fi hacking, okay? I'll get into what that is. Router hacking, phishing page hacking, how to make phishing pages and stuff like that, website hacking and scanning, local and remote hacking. So the only way you're going to be able to defend yourself against attacks when it comes to cyber attack and getting hacked is to learn how the attackers do it. That's the only accurate way of properly being able to understand and protect yourself against attacks. That's how it works. The TI community has thousands of theories and of what they think, how they got hacked, and somehow a button was pressed and all of a sudden they got hacked. That's not how it happens. Okay, there is a process, and it's very strategic. And I'm going to actually show you how this is done. Okay, this is pretty deep stuff. So you don't got to take my word for it. let's have a look at what Kali Linux is. Kali Linux is the operating system that's used for ethical hacking, meant for professionals, security professionals. It's not meant for the general public, but and again, it takes a lot of uh, you know educating in order to even use this operating system. So this is the operating system right here. This is Kali Linux. So let's just have a look here. You don't got to take my word for it. You can Google this. Google Kali Linux, right? So what is Kali Linux? Kali Linux is a Debian-derived Linux distribution designed for digital forensics and penetration testing, aka ethical hacking. It is maintained and funded by Offensive Security. So let's even go to the Wikipedia, right? My computer is really slow right now for some reason. I wonder why. So anyways, you can go ahead and go on Wikipedia and educate yourself on what Kali Linux is if you have a hard time believing already that this is actually real and that I do possess these skills. I have been studying and educating myself and practicing for the last 7 years, and I haven't said a thing about it because I've been in the process of educating myself. I'm at a pinnacle point where I'm able to teach this stuff now. So anyways, let's take a look what ethical hacking is, right? Ethical hacking is a process of detecting vulnerabilities in an application, system, or organization's infrastructure that an attacker can use to exploit an individual, like a targeted individual, or an organization. They use this process to prevent cyber attacks and security breaches by lawfully hacking into the systems and looking for weak points. So the only way to figure out if a server or a system or a device is vulnerable is to try to exploit it. And then once you complete that exploitation of whatever it is that you're trying to exploit, now you can patch those holes and exploits and prevent an actual malicious attacker from taking that same route to gaining unlawful access to that server, to whatever it is that they're trying to hack into. So there's obviously three kinds of hacking that you're probably familiar with, right? There's white hat, which is legal, which is what professional security penetration testers do with white hat hackers. Gray hat, which is a hacker that is kind of teeter-tottering on the edge, basically an activist that might not be hacking ethically for specific reasons, like anonymous would be a gray hat, black hat hacker, right? And for social reasons, or for basically fighting against corruption, right? So a gray hat hacker, right, would be a hacker that basically challenges the corrupt, distorted system and basically hacks the system, right? Not for monetary gain, but to fight against oppression against the system, basically. So that would be a gray hat hacker. A black hat hacker would be somebody that is a hacker that is trying to get monetary gain, try to make money, steal, you know what I mean, extort, like ransomware hackers and stuff like that, right? So now, obviously, people hear ethical hacking or hacking and they're like, oh yeah, I saw that on a show, like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't really know that this is a real thing. So the professional term for ethical hacking is security penetration testing. So a penetration test, pen test, is an authorized, simulated attack performed on a computer system to evaluate its security. Penetration testers use the same tools, techniques, and processes as attackers to find and demonstrate the business impacts of weaknesses in a system. So now that we've established that, I'm going to get out of here because my computer is really struggling for some reason. Probably doesn't want me, they don't want me to be teaching this stuff. So anyways, pretty heavy stuff. There's many reasons why as a targeted individual that you need to learn this. And it's going to benefit you in many, many different ways. Now, you're going to know for sure if you've been hacked or not, or if somebody's trying to hack you, and you're going to be able to see that and identify it, which will stop you from potentially being hacked at all, or figuring out if you've already been compromised, right? You'll be being taught how to be anonymous on the internet, stuff like that, which I'm sure you all think you already know how to do, with your VPN and stuff. But there's more advanced stuff like proxy chains and stuff like that that you don't probably know about. Here's the thing: people think they already know everything, right? And that's why they stay at the level that they're at and they don't evolve because they think they already know everything. So you need to come into this open-minded and realize that you really know nothing at all about hacking. And let's just be honest, you really don't. And we all think we did, and we do, you know what I mean? And, but there's levels to this shit, right? So this is what you need to do. You need to actually educate yourself because that's going to prevent you from getting hacked. And then on top of it, think about the power that you would have, okay? The power that you would hold if you were able to, your attackers, if you really wanted to flip the script on them, you really could. I'll explain something to you. the gang stalkers are not as intelligent as you really actually think they are. They don't have these skills, okay? You think that they know how to hack. They fucking don't, okay? They fucking don't, okay? And I'm gonna show you what it really looks like. And here's the thing. I don't want these videos making it to anybody that I don't want to have this power. Okay, so this is specifically for the targeted individual community because this is going to empower them, put them in a position that they can't be infiltrated. Okay, and also it's going to take a lot of the anxiety and fear away. I noticed like the TI community is really worried about being hacked and oh I swear I've been hacked, but you know what? 90% of that is literally fear in your head. You need to know how this stuff really happens and how it looks from an attacker's perspective. Now, there are no other ways to hack things, okay? The only way to hack is through the distro Kali Linux, okay? There's no such thing as hacking through your Windows CMD terminal, okay? That is not real. This is the real deal, okay? For real. This is what the government uses, okay? This is the operating system the government uses, FBI, CIA. Um, so if somebody claims that they're a hacker, they're hacking or blah blah blah, and they don't even know what Kali Linux is and can't even tell me a Kali Linux command like ls to list directories, they're not a hacker. They're not a hacker. Okay, they're not hacking. So let's really get into this. You know what I mean? Let's get real for a minute. I'm going to tell you some of the topics that I'm going to be teaching on this channel when it comes to this stuff. So here's some of the titles and topics that I'm going to be making videos around. So obviously, why you should learn hacking as a targeted individual of gang stalking. Gang stalking. Is your phone hacked? Here's how to tell. Gang stalking. Don't use an iPhone. How to defeat gang stalking by becoming a hacker. How to track your handler or gang stalker. How to hack an Android phone. How to be anonymous. How to not be tracked, and how to track your gang stalkers. How does a targeted individual really get hacked or tracked? How to destroy a gang stalker. We're gonna have some fun on top of things. Don't worry, it's not gonna be all technical analysis type shit. Look at me. Do I look like a technical nerdy motherfucker? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the slums, dog. I'm from the hood. You know what I'm saying? So that just proves anybody can learn this stuff. You know what I mean? But it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's going to take years, and it's going to be painful. Okay, but it's worth it. It's really worth it. How a hacker actually? Okay, so uh, how a hacker, a gang stalker, can hack your computer, Mac OS. How a hacker or gang stalker can hack your computer, Windows. Remote and local hacking. Um, how a hacker or gang stalker could hack your Wi-Fi. If they can get into your Wi-Fi, then they can potentially get into the devices that are connected to your network. And they could be outside, I don't know, across the street or a block away. I'm going to show you how to do all that stuff. Let's see, what else do we got? Hacking a gang stalking agency. Hacking a gang stalker. And then I have a list of things that if you take this seriously, if you take this seriously and this is something you really actually want to learn, which I'm going to demonstrate some things and prove it to you that this thing is real, and it's going to blow your mind. Okay, so if you're serious about this, I can't just put this on YouTube. I can't put this material on YouTube. There are terms of agreements, that potentially these videos could get deleted, even though that I'm doing this for educational purposes only and staying inside of an ethical boundary. But yeah, YouTube don't like this stuff, right? This is powerful information that, yeah, in the wrong hands could be, pretty bad, pretty dangerous. So anyways, the way that I set this up, I was like, okay, I can't put this on YouTube. First of all, the Gangstalkers and their agencies and their, you know, pussy holes are going to find this information and they could potentially learn this from me, a targeted individual, and then use it against me. Well, it wouldn't work on me because I know how this works. That's why I'm going to teach you guys this. But it would work on a lot of targeted individuals because they just don't know. And they think they know, but they really don't know how this stuff really works. And I get it, right? You think you're real cool and sharp and smart, but I could probably hack into your Wi-Fi and get a reverse shell onto your Windows laptop without you even clicking a link or downloading anything. It's called a zero-day exploit, okay? And I know how to do that, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Very scary, very dangerous shit that's very, very real, okay? And I'm going to do it and demonstrate it, and you will be able to, if you take it seriously, you can follow along. I'm starting a course, I'm starting a school for targeted individuals, and I'm going to help you step by step be able to accomplish these things, learn how to hack, uh, and you're going to be prosperous in that process. So what I need is to put this on Patreon. Patreon, I can upload videos privately to my community without anyone outside of that I don't want to get their hands on this information see these videos. But here's the thing, you know, it's a weird thing because I can't teach this to the community in any other way because it has to be in a private area where things don't get leaked or certain entities or gang stalkers don't see this. You know what I mean? I don't want them to know how to do this. And they're not going to learn from me. You know what I mean? So good luck trying to do that. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to shift my efforts on the Patreon. That's the system that I had into place. Now, let me demonstrate some of these things. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna demonstrate now. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm running VirtualBox and I'm running Kali Linux through VirtualBox, which is a virtual machine, an isolated machine. That way, so anything that I do through Kali Linux, um, I can't be reverse engineered or hacked, where another hacker could potentially reverse engineer what I'm doing and basically hack my computer. That doesn't happen when you're using a virtual machine. It protects. It's a secure box on your computer that runs independently without any way of an attacker infiltrating your computer. Because people would be worried about that. And I'm going to show you how to be anonymous and how to do all these things and everything. Security is obviously number one when it comes to security. So, anyways, I'm going to demonstrate now basically how you would get a reverse shell, how you would hack a Mac OS computer, right? I'm not going to show you everything, right? But I'm just going to show you how this is done, how an attacker would do this, right? If you are interested in this and you see that this is real and that this can be done, I'm also going to have my Android phone right here in front of you and get a reverse shell and have full access to this phone. And this could happen to anybody. You could click a link, you could download a PDF, you could download an app. And this app could be a legitimate app. It could be a legitimate app, okay? But it may have a backdoor in it, which an attacker could get a reverse shell onto your phone and have full access to everything, your camera, your audio, everything you type, all of your passwords that you've ever typed into your browser, they can dump and have access to all of your accounts just because you downloaded an app. That was a legit app. But that's how real this is, okay? But there are some things that you can see that you're going to learn in this and you're going to be able to identify. Even if it's a legit app, you're going to be like, no, something is wrong with this. And I know this because I learned this, right? So anyways, I'm going to teach you guys how to do this. Okay, so we're going to start with the Mac OS, right? Now, I'm going to be using tools on Kali Linux, right? And by the way, you wouldn't be able to use these tools or access these tools unless you knew Bash, language, Linux, and Python. So you won't even be able to start these tools and use them as an average person that doesn't know Linux, okay? That doesn't know Linux commands. It's all terminals, okay? So now I'm just going to get to the goods because I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat. So don't worry, the average person can't get their hands on this operating system and just start hacking people. It's literally impossible. There is a process, and it's a long one. And chances are, if they're in it for the wrong reasons, they're not going to have the patience to deal with this, and it's going to break their brain. So, but I invested the time. I know how to do this now, and I know how to break it down in a way that my people are going to resonate with and understand. So let's start with the Mac OS. So we're going to be using a tool called Eggshell, right? So as you can see, right, Kali Linux, it's not like you can just go into, and use any of the tools or programs. Look, ls means list directories. So it's going to list all of the directories and the tools that are on this operating system. And one of them is right here, Eggshell, right? So to get into into this tool, you have to go cd Eggshell. Oops, did that wrong. It's case sensitive, right? Boom. So now I'm in that. Now I'll type ls again. Now I'm in the directory. Now to start this program, I'm going to go sudo python2 eggshell.py, and the .py means Python. This tool is written in Python, which is, by the way, you don't need to know coding to be an ethical hacker. Coding is a completely different field, completely different profession. It's not related. People that do coding are not hackers, and hackers are not coders, okay? You can learn coding and utilize coding to implement into the ethical hacking or penetration testing skills that you already have, where you can actually, it can help you be a better hacker if you learn coding. But you don't need to know coding in order to be a hacker or utilize this operating system in order to penetrate servers and devices anyway. So, boom. Now, hit enter, put my password in. Now, the tool's going to open up, right? This is the tool. This is Eggshell. So we're going to go number 3. We're going to create a payload. I'm not going to explain what a payload is yet. Number 1 for a bash script payload. Enter, enter. So this is my local IP. It's not my public IP. What you don't want to leak is your public IP, not a local IP. Nobody can hack your local IP. It's your public IP that you want to protect. So don't worry, I'm not leaking my IP address. Education, knowledge is power. Now, we're going to put it on port 4444. Now, this is the bash script that I'm going to put into a terminal. This is just one method, right? Another method is I could create a payload or a file, disguised as a document, a PDF, an MP3, something that that individual was already waiting for. Maybe I looked on their Facebook and they're like, I can't wait until I get an email back from so-and-so or this company with this information that I've been waiting for eagerly. And then I act as that individual, spoof their email address or their phone number or whatever. Basically, it would look as if I'm that individual or organization or business reaching out to that person, and that person was already waiting for an email from them because I socially engineered them and found that out. I'll send them a file, something that they've been eagerly waiting for, and they can't wait to double click on that and open that up. That's how you socially engineer somebody. Because you might think, oh, well, I would never click a file, or I would never click a link, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you will, because you have no choice. You might have to look at an invoice from your rental management. You might have to, you might be obligated to open a file or a folder or click a link. You have no choice. You literally have to. So you're like, oh, I hope this isn't a phishing scheme because I can't see it by looking at it if this is legit or not. And there's ways to completely make it, there's no way you would ever know. There's no way, zero way you would be able to tell unless you were educated in this field very deeply. So anyways, so we started a server and then a listener. So we're going to be listening for a connection on this attacker machine, which is Kali Linux. And now I'm going to go shift over to my my Mac, right? My normal Mac computer, right? I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to go on the search, and I'm going to type terminal. So this is if somebody had physical access to your computer. Maybe they just said, hey, can I, check my email on your laptop or whatever. Another way is I could just walk up to your laptop and plug a USB into it, or I could drop it on the ground and you pick it up, you put the USB into your computer to try to see what's on it. You have just been compromised. You have a backdoor into your computer where an attacker can now access anything and everything. Okay, why did that just close? That was weird. I opened terminal and it closed on me. That's odd. Okay, here we go. So what I would do is I would type bash, and then I would just put that script in there and hit enter. Now, that's it. You're screwed. That person has complete access to all your passwords that you have ever typed ever on that computer, in your browser, your cookies, everything you type is logged now. Everything you do, they can see you through the camera, they can hear what you're saying, they can upload files onto your computer, download files. They can do anything you can do on your computer remotely from another location now, and they have permanent access. Even if you restart your computer, it doesn't get rid of the shell. You are compromised. Okay, that's how real it is. And now you have a keylogger on your thing, and they can see and everything that you type. Anytime you log into your online bank, anything you do, you're screwed, and you're not going to know anything happened. So now on the attacker side, as you can see, it says session 1 opened, right? So I'll type help, and here's some options that I have. So interact. So now I want to interact with that shell, which is the session, which is session 1. So boom, here I am. I am now inside of the Mac here. So obviously this can be done remotely. This is a local attack, right? There's a difference between remote and local. Right now I'm showing you a local attack, right? Where somebody would physically have access. Or you picked a USB up and plugged it in your computer. Boom, this is what would happen to you. Or I can also show you remote. You can socially engineer somebody. You know what I mean? I could make a video and say, hey, if you want to jailbreak your Mac OS computer where you can download any application for free on the App Store onto your Mac, applications that may cost thousands of dollars, all you have to do is open up Terminal and copy paste this command in there. People will fall for that. You can use things that people need, want, and desire against them to socially engineer them to get them to do shit that's kind of sketchy. You'd be fucking surprised. So anyways, if I type ls, or actually if I do pwd, this is going to show me the directory that I'm in, which is users/anon, which is the username that I'm using for my Mac. It could have said Corey, it could have said whatever, you as a user. Now if I type ls and list directories, it's showing me everything on the Mac computer. Documents, downloads, you have full access. So I could download an entire folder. So I can just download music, you know. Oh, okay, so it's a directory, so you can't download a directory. I'd have to go in there and find a file and then download it. I could also upload a file. Let's just upload this. Done. That just got it. Okay, so on the Mac, we could go on the Mac and we could go find this file now, and it'll be there in this directory, users/anon. I'll do that in a minute. I want to show you what's other things that are possible. So when I type help, now you have a list of commands, okay, that you could execute. So persistence, I would execute that if I wanted to have a permanent backdoor under that Mac. So if they shut their computer off, reset it, doesn't matter. If you were to reformat the entire laptop, that would get rid of the backdoor. If you were to get compromised on your phone, the only thing that's going to fix that is reformatting it. So now you know that. So here we go. So like I said, upload, suspend current session. Okay, screenshot. So let's take a screenshot and see if that works. Now, by the way, some of these things aren't going to work because if you update your Mac computer, if you keep it updated, there are security features being uploaded onto your Mac that will protect you from a number of these attacks. You can still get backdoored the way I just did it, and obviously because I'm fully up to date. I'm fully up to date. But if you're fully up to date, it will block some of these things. So make sure you update your phone, your Mac, your computers. Fucking update your shit. Believe me. Okay, screenshot. Okay, it's been saved to downloads. Okay, where is that file? So now we want to go here on in here. So why is it saving it to that? That's what I want to know. Okay, what are we doing here? Downloads. I just want to see, where did this save? Now I just got to figure out, where did that save? I think that's an important thing that we should probably know. Okay, let me do something here. Maybe it's in root. I'd assume that you're probably already mind blown at this point right now, but it gets a lot better. Okay, so why? I'm actually confused right now. Why did it save in that directory? I probably could have set which directory that it was supposed to save in. I really am I'm stumped right now. But anyways, it downloaded that screenshot somewhere on my Mac. Or not my Mac, onto the Kali Linux. And it's really disturbing me why I can't figure this out right now. Where did it save? Like, where's this directory? That doesn't make any sense. Because my downloads are right there, and it's not there. Anyways, whatever. I'll find it later, and I'll show you. But anyway, so it downloaded a screenshot of the Mac onto the Kali Linux machine somewhere. So get Facebook, you can retrieve Facebook session cookies, so you could log into the Facebook. You can iMessage, send a message through the message app. Keyboard, your keyboard is the target's keyboard. So let's go like this. Okay, so that's open. So when we type something in, so when we do this, keyboard, start typing. Yo. Alright. Let's go back to the Mac. Okay, why didn't that work? Oh, maybe I gotta hit enter. Let's see. Okay, let me open up a notepad then. See if that works. Or maybe. Why can't I get a notepad going here? I don't know, maybe it doesn't work in that terminal. Most people wouldn't be using a terminal anyways. Maybe it'll work on here. Let's try that again. Yo. Come on. Okay. Well, see, maybe there's a security feature now that stops that from being able to happen, which is great. but that should have worked. I did it last time and it worked, so I don't know why it's not working now, but that's a good thing. So maybe there was a security patch to stop that from happening. So make sure you update your stuff. So anyways, let's try something different then. If that's not going to work. Picture, take a picture. But I'm also recording right now, so I don't even think that would work. That could be a thing too. Take a picture. Okay. Yeah, that's not working right now either. Prompt user to type password. So this doesn't work on mine because I've updated mine. But if you weren't updated, I could do that. Oh, come on. Okay. So no active session. So somehow I lost my session. And this is the type of things that happen. I also didn't make it persistent. So I lost my session because of that. So I should have made it persistent right away as soon as I got in. So now I have another session. So interact with session number 2. I'm back in, type help. If I go persistence, now if I lose my connection, it'll reconnect. Okay. Persistence installing. So now if I lose my session, it'll reconnect again. So I have a permanent backdoor. But anyway, so you get the picture. Like, this is already kind of scary. Like, there's so many things that I could do. There's also a file that I can get, that I can upload onto your Mac, hit enter, and it pulls all of your passwords from your browser. Because your browser, even if you don't click save password on your browser, it still logs that and your cookies and stuff like that. So see, and you can record from the mic, stuff like that. Probably not going to work because I'm recording on the computer, so that would interfere. This is the file right here, Firefox password retrieval. So if you're using Firefox, it will rip all the passwords from your browser that you've ever typed into your browser to log into anything, any of your accounts, and then all your accounts are compromised. There's also a file that would work for Windows. So if I were to get on your Windows, I could do the same thing, which is a completely different thing, which I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So anyways, I think you get the picture, right? Read through some of these things, right? And what I would do is, if I were an attacker, if obviously you weren't fully updated, I would prompt you, and your password box would pop up. Like, when you're on a Mac and you're trying to open a folder, do something, it might ask for the password to change a setting or something. So that'll pop up. You'll type your password in. I'll get the password. Then I can log in as root right here. SU login. So obviously I know my password to the Mac, so I can do that right now. I can log in now as root. See, root granted escalation privileges. So now I have more privilege. So some of these other things that weren't working might work now, like the keyboard. Let's try that. I bet you this will work now. Wouldn't be surprised if it works now. Okay, start typing. So that's in, that's right there. Let's see if this works now. Yo. But anyways, I'm just trying to give you a general idea of how things work. I don't know. I guess it's not working, so. I have been updating my stuff, so that's good. Wow, now my computer wants to freeze up on me, which is not good. So anyways, you get the idea, right? So many things are possible, right? And this is just for math. But anyways, if I could get all your passwords, you're completely compromised, your Mac's completely compromised, and this could have happened through you plugging a USB into your computer, or somebody getting on your computer and just quickly typing that script into a terminal. It's pretty easy. Also, the same thing can happen if you were to open a file, a document, a PDF, something, anything on your Mac, and it could be disguised so legitimately, and it could be sent to you in a way that you can't tell the difference, and it's something you were already expecting, and you accidentally click on it, and then you're compromised. So this is for Mac OS. So I would like to show you how to do the Android thing as well. So I'm going to get out of here, and let's see if we can do that. So anyways, that's that tool. I can do, like I said, I'm going to teach you more in depth and get into it. This is just a brief, just trying to show you, give you an idea of what's possible. And I'll figure out where that screenshot is, and then we'll go to it, and then I'll show it to you. Really lost to think why it's not. I don't know where that's saved, man. I don't know why it's saying downloads. It's not even in here. That's not the right downloads. Anyways, I'll figure it out and I'll find it later. I should have gave it a directory to save it into, and I would have spared myself. So that was my own mistake. So we're done with Eggshell. Moving on now. Okay, what's another tool? So this is a Metasploit framework, which is a framework that has the entire exploit database in it to basically exploit anything. That's where I'm going to set up my listener handler for the Android payload. So we're going to make an Android application, an app, and we can disguise it as anything. It can be called anything we want. It could be Netflix, Facebook. We can call it anything. We can put the person's name and be like, whatever, eviction notice, and first and last name, and then they're like, oh shit, and like it looks like it came from their, rental management, right? So they're gonna double click it, and then it's gonna be an application, and they're gonna install it, and then they're compromised. So anyways, there's multiple ways that you could socially engineer somebody to open one of these apps. You would be surprised. You think that you're that clever and smart, and I would never do that. Yeah, well, I'll find a way. Trust me, and that's what hackers do. So, anyways, Eagle Droid. So let's start this up. As you can see, you're not going to be able to open this tool and use it if you don't know Linux commands. And I'm going to teach you all that. So I'm going to teach you how to do this stuff, right? You'll be able to do these things. Yeah. So anyways, let's open this up and let's get this going. But in the meantime, while that's loading, I'm gonna set up the handler. So use exploit /multi/handler. Oops, did that wrong. So use exploit /multi/handler. There you go. Set the payload to Android/interpreter/reverse_TCP. Set lhost to 0.0.0.0. Set the L port to 80, 81, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Run. So now that's listening. So when the person opens the app, it'll get a reverse shell on their phone. And then from there, you see this file right here? That's a persistent script file that I can upload to the phone, and it will give me a persistent backdoor that even if you restart your phone or shut it off, turn it on, it will reopen that connection that I have automatically. On my phone, I've used that too many times testing these things, and it did something to my phone that now the persistent script doesn't work. I glitched my phone in some way. I did something. So when I get the connection in about a minute or two, we'll lose the connection and the person would have to open the app again. But in a real life situation, that's not going to happen. Once the person opens the app on the phone, I'll get the reverse shell, I'll upload the script, it'll work, and I'll have complete access to that phone and everything on it, and all of their passwords. Also, by the way, once I get on the phone, when they do that, I can now go on Google, on Gmail, put in their phone number or their email, which I'll be able to have already from just accessing their phone. And then I can send a code, right? I can say forget password to their Gmail account. It'll send a code to the phone, and then I'll dump SMS and get that code, put it in, and log into your Gmail. Once I have your Gmail, I have everything. Your Facebook, your online banking, your PayPal account, I can just clear you right out. I have full access to your entire digital life, all because you downloaded an app. Okay, so this is how you would get hacked, okay, as a target individual. So don't be careful about apps that you open up. It doesn't work by just clicking a link. There are things that you can be tracked from just clicking a link, and they can get your IP address, your public IP address, and then from there they can run Nmap against your IP address and find if there's any open ports, and if those open ports are vulnerable, and if they can exploit them, then they might be able to get into your network or one of your devices through that technique. But it's not just like you click a link, boom, you're compromised. That's not how it works. There are some other strategies through Beef, which is another framework that can be used where you would click a link and you could potentially get hacked, or they could get your cookies and then be able to log into all your accounts. If they have your cookies, which is a string that they could use to act as if they are you, and they don't need your password or username, because when you log into Facebook, YouTube, or anything, the reason why you don't have to keep logging in over and over again and it just remembers and it just logs you in is because of your cookies, right? And those cookies can be extracted, from you just clicking a link, and then they can use the cookies to log into any of your accounts um, without knowing your password or username. So you might want to watch out for that. Yeah, okay, so let's make our payload through Evil Droid is the name of the tool. So this is starting an Apache server and a PostgreSQL server. And yeah, let's get to this, man. This is some pretty crazy stuff. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, moving forward, and here we are. So I'm just going to do a normal APK. Now, I can do another option, number 4, which would bypass any antivirus things that you have on your phone that would detect a virus. These are non-detectable. They can't be detected. So, yeah, it's not good. And I can also change the icon of the app. It'll look like your bank. It'll just be as if you're opening Netflix or Facebook or whatever, and your phone won't be able to tell the difference. But I can change this icon to be a PDF. You think you're opening PDF, you think you're opening MP3, whatever. So we're going to create this, and locally, what do we want to do? Okay, 8081 was the port that we made on the listener. We can call it whatever we want right there. I'm just going to keep it the way it was, Evil APK or whatever. We need a interpreter reverse TCP connection. And while that's doing that, I'm going to do something real quick. That's creating the payload right now, and just got to do something. I'm going to put the payload in this folder, and it's going to put it into my Apache server. Then I can access my Apache server by typing in an IP address on my phone, so I can access the app and download it onto my phone. I'll get into that stuff later. You don't need to worry about that. But just giving you a general idea of how this stuff works, so you can really understand it and understand that you might not be hacked the way you think you are. Now, if you downloaded an app, a sketchy app, you might be hacked. A sketchy file or folder, or it might not even been sketchy and you have no idea, but you're compromised. I'll get into that later. But people think that they can just get hacked through a satellite or something. Like, yes, the government has an automatic backdoor to any device that they want. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can do about that ever. You would have to completely never use technology again, right? So that's the thing, right? Especially iPhones. They're pretty much almost they're hard to hack to the point where it's not even worth trying. But I found out that the iPhone is an automatic backdoor already, so it's just you're putting yourself you're giving a backdoor to the government by using an iPhone automatically. Um, but with Android, you have to actually download an app to get hacked. If a hacker were to get onto your Wi-Fi network, they're not going to be able to exploit and just get a reverse shell onto your phone. It's not going to happen like that. You literally have to download an app. Okay, that's how this works. And now you know this, right? So you don't have to be all paranoid and scared that you got, my phone's glitching and something I got hacked and blah blah blah, and you're tripping out. See, knowledge is power. You don't have to be worried or paranoid or scared or be in fear of anything when you know everything already. When you understand how things work. I don't know why this is taking so long. Maybe it already made it. Anyways, you gotta be patient to learn this stuff and do this type of a thing. So anyways, I think it already made it. So this is the app. It's an APK, which Android apps are APKs. That's what they are. If you didn't know that. Okay. Now, on my phone, I'm going to download the app and I'm going to install it. We're going to get a reverse shell. So I should be able to, on my phone, because I'm connected to the same network. You don't got to worry about this, what I'm telling you. I'm just showing you how this works. So I'm going to type in the IP address, the local IP address that you see right there, 192.168.0.84. And that's going to connect me to my Apache server where I can download the APK. Or I could just, upload this APK to, one sec, 192.168.0.84. Boom. Download the APK, open it, and then it'll just look like this to install a normal app, a normal APK. You'll just click install. You think you're, installing a normal app. It's installing. And you're going to see in a minute, let's go back to our handler, our listener, right here. And when I open, now it says app installed. Open. When I click open and I open this, see that? Boom. We have a reverse shell. Okay, we're in the phone. Sys info. It's going to tell us right now. Android 11, Linux. Okay. And when we go help, here are all the things that can be done. First of all, we can, same thing, PWD, we can see where we are on the phone. We can list directories. We can go into anything on the phone, so on and so forth. Boom. Everything, system, everything on the phone. You can access the downloads, everything and anything. So help. Let's see what we can actually do when we get on the phone. So we can record the mic, the webcam, list the webcam, stream from the webcam, dump all text messages, dump all contacts, send an SMS. They could send a text message to somebody else through your phone number, through your phone, acting as if they are you. And you could imagine what that could do. You can hide the app on the phone so they can't even uninstall the app anymore. You can upload the persistent script. We're going to lose we lost the connection because I didn't upload the persistent script, which is fine. In a real life situation, I would have uploaded the script, ran it, and then it would just keep reconnecting, and I would never lose that connection even if you restart the phone. So anyways, these are the options. These are the things you can do. You can do screen share, so you can watch the remote user desktop in real time, take a screenshot, can drop into a shell, system info, we did that to see, what type of Android that we're on. You can see now through ifconfig, you can see all the devices that are connected to that person's network. You can upload a file. You can download a file. You can do anything, man. You can do anything and everything. Like I said, when you dump that SMS, I could have went and sent a code from their Gmail and said forget password. It would have sent a code to their phone. I dump SMS. I got the code now. I log into your Gmail and I have everything at that point. So bottom line is I can do anything and see anything. If I just open this app again, if I run it again, if I just tap on it, it'll reconnect. Okay, 1 sec. I think I have to. Anyways, yeah, so if they open the app again, it'll just create another connection. Anyways, yeah, so that's how that works. I don't want to get too in depth with things, because that's not the purpose of this. So I just tapped that again. It opened back up. We got another session again. If I upload this script and run it, I'll have you can also list all the apps. You can see all the apps that are on the person's phone. You can do anything. You can do anything. Completely compromised. Completely compromised. Anything you can do on your phone, the attacker can do. So that's how that works. This video is probably getting pretty long. I'm going to have to break it down. But anyway, so I'll show you a couple more tools. I'm not going to actually full out, whatever. I'm just going to show you a couple more tools. So, 1, 2, 3. So, this tool is called AirGen. It's to hack Wi-Fi. You will need to you would have to order something like this. It costs you $50. It gives you monitor mode and injection mode, which allows you to be able to hack Wi-Fi. There's multiple different ways that you could hack and do a Wi-Fi network and get the password. So I'll tell you those 3 things, 3 different ways that you can hack Wi-Fi, basically. I'm not even going to use this thing right now. I'm just going to explain it to you. So, WPS attack. That will automatically trick your router into spitting out its WPS pin. When it does that, it'll take that pin, send it back to the router, and the router will then spit the password out. That's like a 0-day way exploit. Doesn't always work. Only works on certain routers that have WPS enabled. So if you go on your router, disable WPS pin connection, that will secure you from being able to get attacked like that. Because you wouldn't know what happened, blah, blah, blah. Handshake. So you can get a handshake. You can basically what it would do is it's going to send can't say it, deauth packets to the router, which will kick the devices off. When the devices reconnect, it'll obtain that interaction, and that's called a three-way handshake, and it'll get a handshake PMKID out of that. And you can take that file and you can brute force it. I will show you that really quick. So offline, personal aircraft dictionary attack against a handshake capture file. So this is what this is going to look like. This might crash my computer because I have too many things running at the same time, and I'm not going to like that if that happens. So, okay, we need to go into root where the handshakes files are. We need to grab one of these and put it in here. Hit enter. Now we need to give it a dictionary file, which is rocku.txt, which has, I think it's, I don't know, 28 million common passwords that have been dumped from database breaches. So back in the day, Facebook got hacked, all the passwords got breached, and from hackers, and they were uploaded to the darknet, and that was downloaded as a TXT file of like 28 million passwords that were breached and leaked. And it'll take these passwords and try to brute force it against the handshake until it finds the password, if the password is in that list. That's how that works. And it looks like this. So this would take 2 hours and 38 minutes. It's changing, but right now it's trying to brute force that handshake against that password list until it finds the password, if it finds the password. And you got 28 million tries, maybe even more, maybe like whatever that number is actually. That's a big number. What is that? 14,344,391. So 14 million passwords in 2 hours, which it would happen a lot faster if I wasn't running a whole bunch of stuff. So that's how that works. That's that attack. Let's get out of there. Yeah, so that's a Wi-Fi attack through Airgeddon. Where did it go? Oh yeah, I exited right out of there. Anyway, so there's another attack, and it's called the evil twin attack. And you basically can clone somebody's signal. It'll attack their router, kick them off of their network, and it won't let them back on until you let them back on, right? And then it'll create another Wi-Fi signal, the same name as theirs. So if theirs is Bell123, it'll create another Wi-Fi signal that says Bell123, and it'll kick them off of their signal so they can't get back on. They can't get on their Wi-Fi. They're freaking out. They look at their Wi-Fi signals and they see their Wi-Fi signal twice. And they're like, why won't it let me back on my Wi-Fi? Okay, I'll try the other signal. And then when they click on it, it'll open up the prompt to put their password in to log back into their Wi-Fi. And until they do that, they're not getting back on their Wi-Fi. So you forced them off of their Wi-Fi, gave them a fake connection to connect to that is the same name as their Wi-Fi. You're forcing them to give them to get their password, so they have no choice. That's called an evil twin attack. Deauthentication packets get sent to the router, kicks the devices off, keeps them kicked off until that person logs into the Wi-Fi signal, logs their password. So anyways, this is how it really happens. This is how this stuff really, really, really actually happens, okay? So I just showed you Mac, Android, and Wi-Fi hacking. So there's more on the list, right? There's router hacking, right? So somebody that gets onto your Wi-Fi might not be able to log into the router, right? They might not have the password. They could brute force it. They could use default credentials, which typically works. But if not, then they could use a tool called router exploit, and that will find an exploit in the router, and it'll give you a shell, and then you can obtain the password and username to get onto the router. Once you do that, you own the network. You can change the name of it. You can change the password, kick them off their own Wi-Fi, change the password to the router login so nobody can fix it until the technician shows up a week later and has to replace your router. So, yeah. So I'm going to teach you how to protect yourself against these things. I had one more thing that I wanted to show you that's really cool, actually, and it's the phishing. Now, we all know about phishing emails, but this is what it looks like. This is what, from an attacker's perspective, this is what it really looks like. So I'm going to open this up with bash because it's a .sh file. So again, good luck trying to use any of these tools. This is why you need to join my course in my school, because then you will be able to learn how to do these things, and I'll teach you in a very simple manner. So these are all fake logins. Facebook, Instagram, Google, PayPal, Netflix, the list goes on and on and on. Spotify, Snapchat, Twitch, Dropbox, WordPress. So I could send you a fake email and hack your WordPress website, or get your Google credentials, and then I own all of your accounts. So we'll just go for the Google. We'll use the new login page, and we'll use Cloudflare. And check this out. So I could craft an email that looks like it's directly coming from, maybe I found out what your ISP is, and your ISP sends you an email and says your internet's going to be disconnected if you don't fill out this form, and when you click on it, it'll ask you to log in with your Gmail to fill out the form so your internet doesn't get disconnected. Something like that. That's called a social engineering attack. And there's many, many different ways. It just depends on the target, right? So let's open this link here, and you'll see, this URL. You'd probably be like, "What the fuck?" Right? If you saw that, well, that can't be fucking Gmail. But there's a way that I can craft it to make it look like it says Google.com. So you still wouldn't know. Okay, what's going on here? That's not good. Okay, so I have something going on my computer that's blocking the connection, and I don't know why or what that is right now. Let me try something else. I'll figure it out, but I just don't have time to do that right now. But this type of stuff happens all the time. All the time. But anyways, there's always something going on. But anyways, so this is what it looks like. Right? Normal Gmail login. I can craft this URL to basically, it'll say like google.com. You won't know that it's a phishing campaign. The email, you won't know because I spoofed the email. Anyway, so let's just say, fuck off at gmail.com, right? And then fucking go fuck yourself as the password, right? Sign in. Account recovery. Look at that. Like, there's another process. I didn't even know it does this. That's sick. So I already got your password and everything. So now let's go here. Back to Zfisher. And as you can see, account, fuck off, at gmail.com, and the password, go fuck yourself. So that's how that works. It also logs your IP address. victim's IP. That's my local loop IP. It's not my real actual IP. Just so you know. Um, and I'll explain all that later about local IP, public IP, which one you need to protect, how to protect it, how to not get hacked, in every way, shape, or form. And also, you're going to have the ability to do these things. You know that, right? Think about that for a sec. What could you do to your potential attackers, right? Like, yeah, probably not good for somebody that's trying to fuck with you. Probably not good. You could probably own them in so many ways that we'll get into later in the course. But anyways, I've displayed enough here for now. I have a lot more that I want to show you, and um, it's going to be crazy. So if you take this seriously, if this is something that you want to learn, you know, um, this is something you need to be learning. Okay, don't think that you can't do it. Don't think that this ain't for you, or I don't need to learn that, or I'm just as bad as they are. If I learn that, like, no, man, elevate yourself, level up, you know, fucking educate yourself. You know what I mean? Put yourself in a position of power instead of a position of a fucking victim. It's your choice. I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. I'm a fucking gangster. I'm from the street. The program couldn't fuck me over. It did. I was homeless. They made it so my income got cut off. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't go to a fucking restaurant. They said, you're not allowed here. I said, why? They're like, we can't explain that to you. I got blackballed, blacklisted, framed, false criminal accusations. RCMP tried to kill me. My own family turned against me. My friends, people have been, you know, whatever. Every single layer and level and aspect of gang stalking I have went through, and it almost fucking killed me. Okay, so guess what I did? I said, if I ever make it out of this and I get my foot in the door, you guys are fucked. The whole program is fucked. Anyone that ever fucked with me is fucked. I'm that kind of a guy. They can't hurt me. The frequencies and the energy weapons and stuff like that, I can show you how to interfere with them using this software or this operating system. You can manipulate radio frequencies and other frequencies, okay, and deflect them, and if anything, send them back to where they're coming from. Okay, so guys, it's big. You know what I mean? So, anyways, if this is something you want to do and you're serious, make sure you share this with only within the TI community. Only privately. Don't share it in the groups. Share it to TIs that you know. Okay? Don't let this get out to the wrong people, because it would be fucking a tragedy. Um, anyway, so if you want to do this, hit me up. If you want to learn this, you want to put yourself in a position of power, you're going to have to join my Patreon in order to do that. And um, this is going to filter out the gang stalkers and the frauds from the real. The real TIs that are going to look at this and be like, I need to fucking learn this. They're going to win this fucking battle. They're going to win this fight in gang stalking. But this is the process that I have to take, because I need that platform. I need to use Patreon. Patreon is a paid platform. It's, you know, you're going to have to pay a pledge. You know what I mean? And the pledge that I've set to be a part of this course, to be a part of this school, is $50. So you will have to join the Patreon. And as soon as you do, I will be able to see that you joined, that you paid the $50, and put your email in, whatever email you want to use, whatever, you know what I mean? I'll be able to contact you right away. As soon as you sign up and contact and pay the Patreon, right? Get in there, because now you're a private member. It's out of the rest of the way where the handlers and the gang stalkers can't access, right? And they're not going to pay me $50 to join this course. And I'll be able to figure them out if they do anyways. And that's not going to be good for them. So the best thing for them is to basically stay the fuck out of our way. But that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to join my Patreon, and you're going to have to pay the $50 pledge. That's the standard ethical hacking course pledge that I've set. So you can find the link to my Patreon, which also just hit me up in the comments, whatever. I'll send it to you, and we'll start. But you're going to need a laptop, okay? So you're gonna have to have a laptop, whether it's Windows, doesn't matter if it's Windows or Mac. You need a laptop. It has to have at least 4 grams, or sorry, 4 grams, 4 gigabytes of RAM minimum on it in order to be doing this stuff without it being super slow and not working. I will also show you how to get Kali Linux on your cell phone, on Android. So if you don't have a laptop and you can't get one, I can still get you in there. But you're going to be limited. There's going to be a number of things that you cannot do, like Wi-Fi hacking, a whole bunch of stuff you're not going to be able to do on your phone that you can do on a laptop. But you can still do basic things that are pretty cool. And you're still going to have to join the Patreon until you level up, until you get a laptop. You know what I mean? So listen, man, when I was on welfare, I could come up with $50. You know what I mean? Even being on welfare when I was homeless, I could do $50. If it means that I can learn this shit and flip the script on my attackers and educate myself in a way that makes me untouchable, yeah. So now let's have a talk about 0-day exploits, because I know you're all thinking like, okay, cool, but you know, these agencies, security agencies, or CIA or FBI, they could literally just backdoor me through your provider, So if you are with a provider under your name, technically, yeah, the government or CIA or FBI, they could contact your ISP and say that you're a terrorist threat or on a list, and they need to access your IP or backdoor your network so they can monitor what you're doing, or hack your phone, especially if it's an iPhone. There's ways to deflect that too. Like I said, you can kick them off for the backdoor that they get, but they can do a 0-day exploit, and they are the ones that do have access to the 0-day exploits. These 0-day exploits are used through Kali Linux, but they don't come with Kali Linux, and I couldn't access them. I would have to pay 20 to 150 to 300 to $400,000 to access these 0-day exploits, which even if I had the money, probably not going to let me get my hands on it. But yeah, um, you can definitely get 0-day exploited. But let me explain something to you. That's not going to happen to you until you have influential power. You as an individual, it's not enough. It doesn't matter how high up on the list you are of targeting, it's not enough where you're going to get 0-day exploited. It's not. You would have to be fucking bin Laden, fucking bin Laden for them to do that shit to you. You would have to have a following of fucking 30 million people and have influential power like Tupac or fucking Eminem or a famous person. If you obtain, or JFK, Martin Luther King, a president, you have to be a severe threat to the establishment. Yes, you already are a threat to the establishment, but you don't have the influential power or reach. You can't reach 1 million people. You can't reach 100,000. You can't reach 10,000 people, even if you fucking tried. They know that, so they don't give a fuck about you. You're not that high on the list as much as you think you are. And take it from somebody that fucking knows what's really actually going on. Just take it from me, okay? You don't need to be in fear or be paranoid or scared anymore or think that you got hacked or that you're fucking, they 0-day exploited you. No, they fucking didn't, bro. You know what I'm saying? Stop tripping and get educated. You know what I'm saying? Because it's fucking power over fear, bro. Fear comes from the devil. You don't even realize it, but you're a fucking child of God and you're protected. And the reason that's why you're targeted, man. It's not just because of what you know. You're not the only one. A lot of people fucking know. Everybody knows about the corruption in the law and the gang stalking and the harassment and shit. They know, but they act like they don't fucking know. Blah, 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 blah. We know everything, right? We're some of the most intelligent human beings on the face of the planet. We're targeted for a reason, but you're not going to get 0-day exploited unless you have influential power. If you have, even me, like I have Gangstalking videos that have over 64,000 fucking views, and they're not 0-day exploiting me. And if they were, I would be able to know and tell, because there are services that run on your computer that ports have to be opened up on your network in order for them to zero-day exploit, backdoor your network or your device. I'm familiar with those specific ports and which ports are used, so on and so forth. And they're going to get caught. I'm going to know what they're doing. Another thing is, what was I going to say? I hope you guys look up my story and find out who I am. You know, I'm one of the most known to, I don't know, like, how you can't know me. The community's not that, it's pretty big now, actually. I can't say that. It's pretty fucking big. Millions and millions of targeted individuals. So, anyways, my point being is I'm losing my train of thought now because I'm getting kind of tired. This takes a lot of energy. This is not no easy shit. You know what I mean? You got to be serious about this if you really want to learn this. If you really want to be a conqueror in this program. When you obtain skills like this, they get scared, bro. They don't want. You are now too much of a fucking threat to the point where they actually have to disengage with targeting you because it is becoming a risk to them getting caught in a way that you can fucking prove. Because if you were to hack into one of their phones and dump their SMS and find text messages of them engaging in gang stalking or targeting you or anybody else, you now have hard evidence that you could bring to court, right? And I think we know about the courts, right? And how they've got this shit figured out and they're not going to let this happen, right? But if you had some skills like this and were to do some shit like that, well, you just defeated the fucking system and the program, and you have hard evidence connected to their IP, connected to their phone number on their phone, and they won't even know that you know that. And all of a sudden, maybe the fucking feds kick their door in and grab their phone before they can get rid of anything, and now they have been caught. This is now a real thing, okay? So think about the level of power that you can have if you do this. This is just an introduction video. You know what I mean? I got a lot of work ahead of me to do. But anyways, I'm going to cut it off now. If you're serious and you want to do this, hit me up. You're going to have to join the Patreon. You're going to have to pay the $50 pledge. That's going to help me filter out the fucking gang stalkers from the real TIs. And let's just take over, man. Let's flip the script on the system, on our handlers, the people targeting us, harassing us, trying to gain intel on us. I assure you that they do not have these technical skills. Some of them may, some of them do, but the majority don't. It's too hard. It's like becoming a fucking a fucking mathematician, becoming a fucking, you know, a rocket scientist, but in technical cybersecurity analysis. This is not a fucking joke. This is very complex stuff. So, but I can show it to you. If I can learn this, then you can learn it. But it's not the easiest thing, you know what I mean? But it's worth it, and I can show it to you in an easy way where within days you have these tools up and running and you're using them and you're able to do these things that I just demonstrated. So I suggest that you hit me up and let's start the process and let's get going. Let's take the power back. You know what I mean? Power shift. That's what this is. You know, obviously, me teaching you this is enough to be fucking zero-day exploited or assassinated, actually, because I'm able to gain influential power, and I do have influential power. And my videos, Gangstalk videos, have 64,000 videos plus. Sorry, 64,000 views plus 3,000 comments. All TIs. Some of them were handlers and gang stalkers trying to fucking tell us to kill ourselves and shit. But anyways, so the whole thing is discrediting us, calling us mentally unstable, you know. But when you learn some technical shit like this, it's undeniable that you are an intellectual being, and when you have skills like this, you can get evidence that you would never be able to get if you didn't know these things. So just take that into consideration, man. Hit me up. Make sure you share this video to at least one other TI that you know is legitimate TI. And let's start getting our community empowered and back into power through this process. And I'm not just going to be teaching the ethical hacking, penetration testing, cybersecurity. I'm going to be teaching a lot of different things. Like when I was homeless, when you go see my videos of me when I was homeless in a tent, you're going to see me in a tent because I was making videos in my tent and I was going through gang stalking and documenting it. So I am now in a condo. I have a condo now, okay? That I spent 7 years fucking homeless. They had me by the throat. Okay, they stopped me from being able to get any income, get housing, get a job. They fucking blocked me in every way possible. Deleted all my Facebooks, disabled them. I lost 5 verified pages. Blue badge verified on Facebook as Sincere Music. I make music. I'm known as Corey Resilient on YouTube. I make YouTube videos. That's who I am. When you go and research me and find out who I am, you're gonna find out I'm a real motherfucker that got leveled the fuck up. So you can do the same. So hit me up and let's do this, man. Anyways, I'm out.